Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Shoes Off Inside. Once again with me,
Hello,
Kelly Hu, Tamla Tamita, ladies. So, how's everyone doing? First and foremost, got to do a check-in.
Great.
Hot,
I'm great. I'm still
hot.
traveling. I'm traveling again, as you can see from the background. My background is always changing because
Seriously.
I'm always
You're always
traveling.
somewhere
I just,
She's
else.
always
have
bouncing.
equipment, will travel.
She's always
I
bouncing this
know.
one. Yeah.
I know, but you're right now in Vegas. Is that right?
I am in Vegas.
Yeah.
I came to visit my parents
Yeah.
and see my dog and remind my dog that I exist.
Did he remember you?
Yay. Did he
She
remember you?
she
Oh,
did
sorry.
remember me, and she's more friendly now. Like, she let me touch her and pet
Oh.
her, and she sat on my lap for a little while. She jumped off after a few minutes, but the fact that she even let me touch her was huge.
Yeah.
Wait,
I
did
took
she
on a
not?
project.
Did she
Yeah.
not
Huh?
let you touch her before?
No.
Oh.
No, when
Oh, you
I
didn't know
rescued
that.
her, she was so scared. She hid under the couch for weeks and weeks.
Yeah, sure.
So she's been staying with my parents while I've been working and traveling, and they've been working on her.
Okay.
And so I came back to a slightly better dog who
Oh.
she's still somewhat skittish, but
Okay.
it's a project.
Yeah.
Sure.
You know me, I
Well,
like my projects, my dogs, my men.
oh, but rescue is the best. Adopt, don't shop, as we all
Yes,
say
adopt,
that,
don't
right?
shop.
Because two of
Yeah.
mine are rescues. So, all right. And how are you doing, Tam?
I'm doing good. It's full on summer, so it's Japanese festival season. So come out to dance with us on the weekends.
I
At the
saw
Buddhist
those
temples.
videos.
Yeah,
Yes.
there's Japanese festivals. Kelly knows this because she's a good Hawaiian girl. Obon festivals.
Oh, bon.
Yes,
So you
one dance.
Obon dance. So you dance in remembrance and gratitude to those who have passed before you. While you are in literally the dance circles, you are learning from others as well as teaching others
Yeah.
how to dance, because not all of us know how to remember how to do the dances. We
Yeah, because
follow
it's
the music.
choreography, right?
Yeah, it's
To
choreography.
certain songs.
Yep. But you just learn it. You learn it with everybody else because they go, "Oh, is it this? Oh, no, it's this." So you just
Oh,
it's humbling. It's letting go of the ego because you're learning with everybody. No matter how embarrassed or nervous you are,
so it's
you're
fun.
learning with everybody.
That's
And then when
fun,
you get
though.
it, others who didn't catch it yet are learning from you. So it's again that continuation, that acknowledgement, and most important, the thanks of life, of
Well,
being in the circle.
I remember seeing one clip of you on Instagram, and you
Yeah.
were following along, but I guess you kind of messed up or something. And you were just
And I say,
laughing.
oops. You
Yeah,
say,
but
oops.
it was so cute because you were just laughing
Yeah.
and so happy and joyful, and I felt your warmth and your spirit and
Oh,
your
thank
joy.
you. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the
It
point.
was
That's the
fun.
point. It's like you just go, oops, and you just continue on,
Oh,
and you just have a good laugh with yourself and with everybody everybody else. Is like, oops. But
yeah.
then, yeah, it's that kind of idea, and everybody is welcome.
Oh,
Kelly knows, it's like Hawaii is like, everybody come,
Yeah.
come. Yeah,
yeah.
Not just
that's my
Asian
dream.
people, anybody.
Anybody,
Yeah,
anybody,
that's
anybody
fun.
come.
Okay, well, for me, I wanted to say that my academic book, it's called So You Want to Be on the Air, A Guide to Anchoring, Hosting,
Yay!
Voiceovers, and More, is out. And
Where can we find it?
Yeah,
Okay.
where can we?
it's published by Cognella,
Okay.
Cognella. It's Cognella is the biggest academic publishing house in the States. And I'm going to make this really quick, but it was painful, you guys. I'm telling you, academic writing is so tedious, so detailed,
Oh.
and so painful that I swear to you on this show right now, I will never write an academic book again. It was
Wait, so this is for people who want to study journalism.
yes, but
Broadcast journalism. Yeah.
specifically for people who want to be on the air. on
Okay.
camera,
Okay.
talk show
Oh, good. My
hosting.
niece wants to do that.
Okay.
I will buy that for her.
So it's entertainment hosting, talk show hosting, news anchoring, being a correspondent out in the field, how to do voiceovers, how to use your voice as a tool. I talk about
Uh-huh.
body language, it really does break down a lot of aspects of being on the air. But I also say,
Wow.
this is stuff that the average person should know anyway, because the number one phobia for everyone is public speaking, being in front of a
Out
crowd,
in
being in
a
front of a
live
camera.
audience. Right,
Yeah,
right, right, right.
live
Yeah.
audience, right? And
And as
so
much as I do it, I'm scared too.
yeah, it's natural. You know why? It's
Yeah.
not a natural state of being to be in
Mhm.
front of a large crowd and having to speak and present, or being in front of a camera and seem natural, right? And
Unless
so,
there's a reason, unless it's to literally rally the troops, but to do
right,
it as a job, to report, to tell a story,
right,
absolutely. Yeah.
exactly. So,
Yeah.
I started these workshops at USC to teach students how to do all this. And so a publisher, the Cognella, came to me and said, "Hey, would you write a book about this?" And I'm like, "No." I'm like, "No." And they're like, "No, we really think this would be useful." I'm like, "Okay, I'll do it," not thinking it was going to be so painful. It
How
took
many years or how long
it
did it take?
took over a year,
Okay.
because
Okay, that's not too bad.
it's
That's
not
not too bad. Yeah.
too bad, but it was a painful process.
Yeah, but you were
Mm.
also teaching
I
at
was.
two, places of education as well at the
Yeah,
same
so,
time. So
I mean,
congratulations.
thank you.
So it's out for
it-
us to buy.
It is out. It's on the it's the Cognella
And you'll put a
store.
link.
Yeah, we can put a link.
Okay.
And yeah, so
Please.
I'm just so relieved, you guys. Seriously, I when I finally finish, I was like, "Oh my God, thank God, I'm done." Like, I wasn't even happy. I was just like, "God,"
Yeah.
But now,
It's like giving birth, I imagine.
Yeah.
yes, I've never given birth. But if this is like
Wow.
half the amount of pain, oh my God, I dodged a bullet with that one.
Yeah, but
so-
at least now you're done, right? Once you give birth, that's just the start of the pain.
Exactly. That's
You
right.
got 18 years.
Exactly. So a book won't cause me any pain after it's been,
Right.
birthed. So
Yeah.
yes, hopefully.
Now it's going to be marketing the book and accompanying the book and talking about
That's
the book.
okay.
And see,
I can do that part as long as the publisher will take care of that. But yeah, anyway,
Mm.
so that's out and I'm done. And so
Good
I'm
for
very,
you.
very happy. And my mom
What an
is actually
accomplishment.
visiting right now from Laguna. And so the books happened to arrive while she was here. And so it was so cute. It was such good timing that she was actually here. So I took a little photo of her with my book. It's so sweet. Look at this. Can you see?
Oh,
Oh.
cute.
I know.
I just imagine her holding the book, walking down the street like Waverly.
Like Waverly.
Enjoy La Club, like Waverly's mom. Enjoy La Club.
Oh
That's
my
my
God.
daughter. That's my
That's
daughter.
Yeah, that's my
so
daughter.
cute.
Yeah.
I love it.
Let's see if she does that. But anyway, okay, so today's episode is one that was born out of Kelly's desire to touch on this very interesting topic. And Kelly?
Sex.
Her favorite topic.
That's my favorite topic. I love talking about sex. Who doesn't like talking about sex?
Exactly.
Right?
But,
Yes.
but Kelly wanted to do an episode from the very beginning when we first
From the
came up with
get-go.
the show. She's
Yep.
like, let's do
Yes.
an episode about sex. So we finally got around to it. We found this great expert. All right.
She was amazing.
We got to get her
The
back.
perfect
We're
person.
going to keep on getting
for
her
this
back on.
podcast.
I mean, seriously.
And we'll have her back on. Yeah,
For sure,
absolutely.
because you
Yeah.
guys are going to
Yeah.
love this episode. Her name is Dr. Tara Suanyati Chaiporn.
Oh, that was good.
Yes,
you got
thank
it.
you. You know why? I spelled it out phonetically in my notes because I needed to get it right. But Dr.
Yeah.
Tara, she goes by Dr. Tara. She is a PhD, that she received her PhD in human communication, but then also got into sex therapy and the study of sex. And so she now is a full tenured professor at the age of like 32 at Cal State Fullerton. But she also does a program called Luvbites, Luvbites, where she talks about sex, all kinds of sex, everything, nothing is off the table.
Nothing is off the
Yeah.
table, right?
And
I
she's
started following her on Instagram after our
Yeah.
little interview, and she is fun.
she's funny.
Yes.
She's fun.
to
And
do
she
that. I
will
have to
really
do that.
talk about just anything. So we
yeah,
invited
no holds
her.
barred. No,
Yeah.
no. She uses all the slang
Oh, yeah.
and Yeah, it's
Absolutely.
not all medical. It's not
No.
medical at
No, no,
all,
no, no. So
the way she speaks.
so our intern, yes, there she is, Dr.
There
Tara.
she is,
So
Dr.
our
Tara.
intern,
Luvbites. Yes.
Christine Yo, she is interning for us this summer. She's great. She was one of my students at USC. She found her. So good
Oh,
job,
great.
Christine.
Good
Seriously.
job. Yes.
Um,
Thank you, Christine.
so we
Thank
were able to
you.
talk to Dr. Tara about everything and anything. And so here is that interview. So we will come back on the other side of it. Dr. Tara, welcome to Shoes Off Inside. So good to have you.
Hi, ladies. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
It's so good to see you. And I know you're joining us from London, so appreciate making the time for us. You're shooting a series, a reality show there of some kind?
Yes, I am. And I'm the new host of a reality show called Celebs Go Dating. They have had a successful 11 seasons. This is season 12.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Yes. So I'm the new
Wow.
host for season 12. And well, it's so much fun too because the UK's dating scene, well, I can't say the whole UK, let's say London's dating scene and Los Angeles dating scene, I feel is very different. So it's fun.
Oh, I would
Yeah, it's fun
imagine.
to try
How
something
so?
else. Um, Long story short, I think that in LA, dating is very fast paced. Um, all my single girlfriends are on like 4 apps. And there's a lot of swiping. There's a lot of just like making really fast,
Yeah,
decisions.
that's true.
And there's a lot of like, oh, this week I'm going to get drinks with, 3 people, 4 people. And it's quite common actually if, you're single, living in LA and you're mingling. But here I feel like there's a little bit of a slower courtship process, which I think it just comes from, just hundreds of years of like British customs.
Aren't they a little
Mm.
uptight over there? Oh, sorry. Did I just say that out loud? Sorry to my British friends. Okay, kidding.
They're
But
more selective.
well, it's a cultural thing. You're right. It's probably a little bit more tradition involved, perhaps, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so that's interesting.
The idea of tradition and uptightness, and then LA people, or just Californians, just in or you Americans,
Well-
it's like we're like shallow. I mean, so it's like tit for tat. So again,
Yeah.
I don't
No, but correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think anywhere else in the world dates as freely, like multiple people, as in the United States. I don't know anybody else that does this whole like free flow, like going out with several people in one week kind of thing. I think anywhere else in Europe, in Asia, that would be considered slutting around or uncouth, right? To be dating more than one person at a time. Am I correct?
It depends on the generation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I feel like Gen Z's, which is like primarily my like audience on TikTok,
Okay.
it's very much like we're dating multiple people until we have an actual conversation that it's exclusive.
Okay.
Mm.
So the default is that I am dating multiple people until we talk.
Up until you have the talk.
Yeah,
right.
the talk.
I'm mistaken for a second because I realize that nowadays what kids do is first they sleep with each other.
Yes.
And then they decide whether or not they want to continue the relationship, right?
Yes.
Whereas in our day, back in the day, when dinosaurs roamed the earth, people would actually have long conversations before you would have sex, right? The sex.
Yeah.
And you would, maybe decide later, first base, second base, third base, and whatever. But then,
I don't know.
Now,
Wait a minute, Kelly.
everybody-
Kelly who? Wait a minute. Are you trying to tell me
I
that
love
every
since he goes first base, second base,
Yeah,
third base.
I know. Are you
I get
trying to
that.
tell me that you never like slept with somebody on a first date?
Oh, I absolutely have.
Yeah. So what are you
But-
talking about then?
That's how I got stuck with like 5 boyfriends. but here's the thing. But that's a norm for kids now, right? Is like they sleep with multiple people first, and then they decide who they want to have their relationship with. Am I
Well,
correct?
So there's
Okay.
actually two school of thoughts and two theories in
Okay.
looking at sex on a first date or sex early on in dating. The first model is called sexual restraint model. And in sexual restraint model, if you subscribe to this model, it means that you're going to withhold and restrain from having sex early, and you're going to wait until a few dates in, maybe even 5, maybe even 10 dates in, to develop emotional connection and learn about each other's personalities before you engage in sexual activity. And this is called the sexual restraint model. A lot of daters subscribe to this model, and there's no right or wrong, it's just different for people. The other model is called sexual compatibility model. This is where people who subscribe to this model want to have sex on a first date or just early on in order to make a decision whether or not they want to date this person long term or more seriously, because they want to first assess sexual compatibility. Which for these people that subscribe to sexual compatibility model, sexual connection is one of the top, top 3, one of the most important things in dating. So it's just different for different people.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Well, here's the danger though. I have had friends that did the whole like, let's just talk, and they put like months in, and then the sex came and they were like, oh no, this is not gonna work.
Yeah.
But then you're
Oh.
already like
Connected.
and then
Yeah.
how do you break
Yeah.
up with somebody because you're like, just because they're bad in bed? That's kind
Well,
of
then, okay,
that
then
seems shallow, but it's important,
they
right?
need to go see Dr.
It is.
Tara or a therapist of some kind, right? I mean, instead of just throwing in the towel because of one bad night of sex. I don't know. Well, this is
Wait,
why
Tara,
we're
can
doing
you
this.
actually make people better at sex?
Right. So let's get into this. This is why we're doing this episode. It's all about sex. Like nothing's off the table here during this discussion. So
Right.
yeah. So Dr.
Clearly,
Tara,
because we've already started in.
because you hear. Let's
Yeah,
talk about that.
Can you teach somebody who
Yeah.
you're in a relationship with, a friendship with, and you're interested, how to be better, and actually both be better at sex, because you have to be able to be compatible with the partner as well. So
When it comes to this particular situation, there's 2 C's to consider. The first C is competence. The second C is chemistry. If you have chemistry but lack competence, you can improve. Things can change. You can get better. You can have better sex. But if you have competence without chemistry, things will not improve, because chemistry is one of the things that scientists haven't been able to explain.
Mm,
You either have chemistry with someone or you don't,
right.
right? That's why a lot of people get friend zoned,
yeah,
because we're just friends. Like, I don't have the chemistry for you.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you have chemistry, which is the other C, then you can get the other C, competence, because competence, like anything else, like all of you are very accomplished, and I'm sure you have honed your competence, right? So sexual competence is just another thing. So it's something that you can learn and grow and get better.
Huh. Okay.
Interesting.
Okay.
No, that's true. Chemistry, because your body changes, right? So you might have chemistry with somebody one day, and then 7 years later, when all your cells are different, you might not have the same chemistry. Is that correct?
I love that you brought that up, because it's quite controversial. For some people, well, first group of scholar thinks chemistry is something that you immediately have from the beginning, and it's something that you'll always have. Like, yes, we go through, ebbs and flow of attraction for our partner, sometimes more, sometimes less, depending on the season of life. But there's also another group of scholars that think attraction and chemistry is something that you can like build and foster. Even if you didn't have it from the beginning, you can kind of try to build it. This is where, so the first group of scholars are like, okay, you either have it or you don't, and it's always there, right? Doesn't mean that you can't have like high or low, right? Like it's normal to have that. But it's either you have it or you don't. the second group of scholars say that even if you didn't have from the beginning, hang in there and try to build and foster, because you can build, you
You
can
can
build
build
the
chemistry.
connection and the chemistry. Yeah. So what do you guys think? Do you think it's either you have it or
I
you
don't think
don't,
you
or
can
is it something
build.
that you can build?
Well, okay. No.
Let's go around because this is really interesting.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I find this
Yeah.
fascinating too, because I feel like you can to a certain extent, because, and I only say this from having observed other couples and other, partners and all that, where I've seen how at first you meet somebody and you're like, this person is not attractive at all, like physically, and but then you get to know their character, and their personality, and you realize, oh, I see why people are attracted to this person, or why this person grows on you, right? And so
Yeah.
I think there's part of that, but
Yeah.
I'm going to say a big but. For me personally, I have to have some kind of chemistry right off the bat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never had the growing on you chemistry.
Me neither. Me neither.
That's never happened.
Yeah.
And maybe because I'm like, either I have chemistry and I'm jumping into bed right away, or I'm not doing
You
it.
slut! No, just kidding. No. Okay, Tamla, what do you think?
Yes.
The idea of the two C's, chemistry and competence, I just immediately glommed onto nature versus nurture, because I think we do really always consistently have to rectify that we're all animals, that we react to something that's in the air, pheromones, the roses, the champagne, whatever, the silk sheet, there's the chemistry that's immediately. But again, as human beings, as intelligent, sentient beings, that we do kind of take in information as to how a person looks like, how that person is dressed, how that person presents itself, how that person, the whole package. So that's a part of the nurturing. So again, it's like the class system, language, culture, that all goes into effect, because I think there is an automatic chemistry. It's like, wow, I could, but I would never be able to, because there's a lot of work going into it. It's like, I would have to learn his language. I would have to learn how to, please his parents, because I'm that kind of girl. Da, 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 da. Again,
I've had sex with people who didn't speak English, by the way.
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with it.
I know, but there are stories. Oh my God. Yeah, there are.
With the
And I've never been
dictionary
one of
next to
those,
the
but
bed.
it's like the exciting adventures.
Yeah.
It's like persons who are able to do that. It's like, because
please.
there's nothing wrong or shameful to jump in the sack at first go.
I saw that in Asia all the time, of people who would, get
That's
together.
where it happened. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, these guys would go over to Asia and the women would speak absolutely no English, but they still, got together. But Dr. Tara, let's ask you, from your work, and obviously having worked with couples and individuals, what have you found to be the case that's more, more often than not is chemistry versus, something else?
Competence.
Yeah. Based on some studies, as well as my just professional opinion and actually personal opinion, I think the relationship is a little bit easier when you have chemistry from the get-go.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's easier to cultivate and maintain from there. I think it's a lot harder if you get together without chemistry, but you're trying to push for it. But I know that it can work in long-term relationships, because when we take a case study of cultures that do arranged marriage, many of these couples will say they did not have chemistry from the beginning. And they kind of grew, a friendship, right? Now, are they having bomb ass sex? I don't know. I don't think so. Because it does take that animalistic instinct, the
That
chemistry.
fire. Yeah.
Yeah, that fire for
Yeah.
sex to be fire.
Right,
Yes, relationship long term can be successful even without that get-go chemistry. However, I just don't see that as having as high sexual satisfaction as the couples that do have sexual chemistry.
Yeah. Okay. Let's get into the nitty gritty. Let's talk about, we want to get into the real good stuff. So when it comes to having good sex, I mean, obviously there's many different definitions of that, right? But
Yeah.
maintaining a good, healthy sexual, sort of relationship, like you said, it ebbs and flows. But,
Mhm.
a lot of people complain about being tired, or it's just like,
Mhm.
they just don't want to have sex as often look, I'll admit, in the beginning of my relationship, of course, we
Mhm.
were much more sexually active, but you get into a groove and you kind of don't
Yeah.
have sex as often as you did
Especially at
before.
our age, who, us
Exactly.
women who are like menopausal,
Yeah.
right? And you don't have the hormones, you're
Mhm.
Right.
just not wanting it as
Right.
much.
Right. So that, I kind of get fearful that that's a problem, and like I should like deal with it and do something about it. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure this is something that a lot of people kind of think about, right?
Yeah, yeah. There are quite a few things that we can do to cultivate our own sexuality. And this is based on quite a lot of evidence. The first thing is self pleasure. We know from research women who masturbate enjoy sex more than women who don't masturbate.
Mm.
Is it
And
just because they have more hormones though, and that's why they masturbate?
so I think there's two ways to kind of think about that because hormones, yes, but hormones, I think a lot of things that women do are quite attached to our cycle, of course,
Hmm.
and hormones, but there's also like external um factors that can help like build the feeling of sexuality within us, within all
Hmm.
women. So I do think if women that are perhaps feeling a little bit like that they're on a dry spell, that they don't have the desire, perhaps, dial it back to just like maybe take a bath, feel your body and just feel yourself. Maybe you don't even have to go to masturbation, but give yourself like space to be a sexual being, right? Maybe in a bath you can, feel your skin, massage your arms, massage your thighs, see where you can go from there. Self pleasure is very much correlated with how much like sex and sexual
Right.
connection you want.
Mm. Yeah.
So I think the first thing is self pleasure.
You know that
So
I've never.
here's my big
Oh,
sorry.
sorry. Go.
Here's my big question, because you heard the term use it or lose it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
that's applied to women and their sexuality as they get
Yeah.
older, right?
Yeah.
So is it true that like once if you stop having sex, you're not going to want it as much, and or it will become more difficult to get back into it, or painful even to get back into it?
Yeah, it's true.
I think
So
those are
you
two
got to keep
separate
using
questions
it.
too. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is true. There's a condition called vaginal atrophy.
Hello.
Um,
I had to take hormones.
yeah, yeah. And I mean, there's no shame in that at all, because
It's
actually
natural, right?
lots of women, yeah. And that's where sex can be painful. That's where your vaginal walls are not like, contracting and expanding. It's kind of just staying still, and that's why sex hurts. There's many different things that can kind of go that way, like the use it or lose it. So
Hmm.
I would say healthy, regular masturbation is healthy. And regular depends on you. For some people, it's
Mhm.
once a week. Some people, it's once every 2 weeks. Some people, it's every day. So it just depends. But I do think that self pleasure, taking care of yourself sexually, is very important. The second thing that helps us in terms of sexual wellness is actually having conversations about sex. So for all of your audience that's listening to this right now, and getting this content about sex into their minds, like this is a good start.
Hmm.
Because consuming sex related content, maybe reading a book about sexuality, maybe consuming this content and then talking about it, it keeps it on top of your mind, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
For a lot of people, sex is like at the bottom of their priority. Sexual
Yeah,
wellness isn't a part of
I hear that.
wellness.
Yeah, that's
It's
true.
yeah, when
That's
when you
true.
say like, oh, what is it what entails a healthy woman. Some people forgot about sexual wellness. Like they don't even mention that term. When in fact, it's very much a part of us and a part of our bodies and a part of, reproductive system for those that have children. So it's very much a big part of us. And yet, we are in a society where, and it's not our fault. It's really hundreds of years of programming for women to not care about female pleasure.
Right.
For hundreds of years and thousands of years, really.
Well, it
Women-
also, Dr. Tara, it was considered dirty. It was not
Yeah.
ladylike to talk about sex and be open about
Yeah.
it and worry about our own sexual pleasure, right? The
Yeah.
idea of masturbation, I mean, even to this day, you say that word and some people are like, oh, no, we can't talk about that.
We're not supposed to talk about
We're not supposed to talk about that, right? So, I mean, like
Yeah.
I certainly wasn't brought up with any kind of sex talk or awareness within my
Hello,
family.
Catholic.
Yeah, and especially
Yeah.
as Asians, I think, we kind of are a little bit sort of subdued that way when it comes to
Yeah.
talking openly about it, right?
Hmm.
Same. Yeah. I mean, same experience here. I grew up in Thailand. My family was very sexually conservative. I went to an all-girls Catholic school.
In
So-
hopes that you would not meet boys, right? That's why they
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but then I ended up having sex with a girl. So
It's like, oh wow.
You
Yeah.
showed them.
Oh, that's funny.
I find my way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you're absolutely right, May. It's just like hundreds of years of conditioning. And I mean, the cool thing is now it's 2023. There are actually lots of sex positive content creator, sex therapists, sex educators, speakers, researchers. If you seek out, like there's a lot of information.
Yeah.
And we have the internet, right? So we are now in like the optimum, like prime time for sex positivity movement. And I'm loving it. I'm loving talking about sex, every single day, be the person that people can talk about sex to, and then they kind of go off in the world and be agents themselves. Like I feel like all of my clients become a sex therapist for their friends. Like,
That's great.
their friends start asking them sex questions. And it's just really cool. So yeah, I would say, first was self-pleasure and then really like start like talking about sex, consuming information and content about sex. And I think the third thing, if you haven't had a lot of knowledge and education, start reading about sex. One of my favorite sexuality books of all time is Come As You Are by Dr. Emily Nagoski. And it's such a helpful book to understand female sexuality and pleasure and desire. So, we all know knowledge is power. So I would say, yeah, read books about sex.
Well, Dr. Tara, I was watching something that you, I think it was one of your podcasts. I was listening to it, a snippet of it with a woman who is also, I think, a sex expert, Catherine, something. Catherine, hang on. Drysdale. Okay.
Yeah.
This is a woman who says she has at least 10 to 30 orgasms every time she has sex.
Yeah.
How is that even possible? I want to know how that's possible. Okay.
So lucky.
That is
It
crazy.
is
No,
possible.
when I listen to this, I'm like, what the fuck? How is that? How is she doing this? Right? Because she shared a really interesting stat, which is that only 14% of women actually have a orgasm or like a vaginal
Vaginally.
orgasm. Yeah. When they're having sex.
Vaginal orgasm.
Still.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I believe it.
Yeah.
Listen, I'll admit it. It's very difficult for me to have a vaginal orgasm.
Oh my gosh. Just to have one, I feel victorious.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's a lot.
Okay.
But orgasm, look, the big O is what everybody wants to achieve, right? I mean, it is in whatever way you can. But man, I think for women still to this day, yes, Tamlin, you're one of the lucky few that actually does achieve, because we've talked about this before. So let's talk about why and what can be done to improve that.
Yeah.
You know what? Can I back up because Dr. Tara was saying it's about sexual health and sexual pleasure, and I think as a society we have to meld what those two words mean health and pleasure. And we're always talking about taking better care of ourselves, mental health, physical health, emotional health, sexual health. We also need to identify that sometimes pleasure, the idea of happiness, is tied to pleasure. And sex is about happiness. It's about, pleasuring. Mental health is about finding a state of happiness, a state of the ability to go out into the world, to be feeling good about yourself and about the others whom you're surrounding yourself with. Physical health is about making your body happy because you're intaking, organic foods, healthy foods, life-sustaining food. The element of pleasure is part and parcel of what it means to have good health. And I think happiness and that pleasure principle, thank you, Miss Janet Jackson, is conducive to maintaining an ideal of health, because you have to acknowledge that pleasure, satisfaction, happiness is a part of health, of all stratas of health. And sexual health has to deal with mostly pleasure. And if you're not able to rectify that within yourself, within the idea of masturbating, of self-pleasure, of learning from your partner what pleases him or her, and also, I think that was my big hump, is like to actually say what pleasures me. It's like, you're doing okay, it's great, it feels, but when you say this feels good at this rhythm, this kind of, speed, it's like, all right, let's ramp it up, let's climb the mountain, let's get there. That's the kind of sharing, that's the kind of vulnerability, because you're literally opening yourself up to the ideas of what makes you happy, what makes you pleasure, what makes you feel healthy. Yeah. And so I think those are two big conversations.
I myself know too, when you were talking about knowing yourself is important too for your sexual wellness. Like when I was in my previous marriage, so I was married before when I was younger, and we didn't have good sex. And I can't blame him because I'm a part of the equation. It takes two to tango. So I remember that at that time, even though we had everything and theoretically we should be really happy, I wasn't happy. And I mean, he knew this. I wasn't happy. I was crying quite often. And at the time, not knowing why I was so upset, because I had everything in life. We were living in an oceanfront home. We were doing so well, taking trips around the world, and it's just not enough. And I didn't know why until I know why.
But before you married him, you had the chemistry, right? Otherwise you wouldn't have married him.
So back to, this is now full circle, back to the chemistry. And like, can you build it, or do you need to have it from the beginning? Yeah. I was in the mindset, and this is like, I don't know about you guys. I grew up in Asia, where like you don't need the chemistry from the beginning. That's like how your parents teach you. Like you marry a good man, and you stick it out. Like, you marry a good man that check every box. He has a good job. He's tall. He's good looking. He treats you nicely. And that's a good husband, and stick it out. And I really, really lived that. I really tried it. I cried like 2 weeks straight when I got a divorce because my mom was so disappointed that I wasn't able to stick it out and be a good wife. So yeah, like in that relationship, I started with, he checked every box. No chemistry,
except the chemistry
no problem.
box.
Yeah. He checked every resume box.
Right.
But no chemistry, no problem. We're going to build it. I'm a go-getter. We can do this. And no, we couldn't. So I have an actual real life example how like when you force it, it really doesn't work.
Right. Right. Okay.
That's why it's so important, I think, to meet people in person, right?
Yeah. Well, I met my current husband on the plane. And after like talking for a while and being like friends first, I realized like, oh wow, like we have such strong chemistry that like I just want to jump on him. And I like,
are you part of the million mile high club?
The Mile High Club.
Mile High Club?
I wish there were too many stewardess. Like I wish. I can't wait. Fun fact. I don't know if you guys think this is gross, but I went to Bath recently in the
Oh
UK.
yeah, I've been. Okay.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful town.
Yeah.
We went to this beautiful spa and we did have sex in the sauna.
Oh, okay.
What's
Okay.
gross about that?
Wait, we
I'm
should
all
wait.
about having sex in public places.
Okay, I'm trying to
Oh my
take this.
God.
I'm trying to take this conversation to like the dirtier place, and you guys keep on
Oh my God.
elevating. You keep
Go, go,
elevating
go.
the conversation to an intellectual place.
Go.
Okay, back to the orgasm question.
Yes.
Oh,
So this woman who can have 10 to 30 orgasms every time she has sex.
yeah. How?
How is that possible? And
Yeah.
what is it about women in particular where we have these issues with the achieving orgasm?
Yes. So let's start with how. There are multiple things that you can do in order to train your body to induce multiple orgasms. It is definitely something that you have to train your body. It's not just, you don't just naturally get it, unfortunately. Yeah, you have to train your vagina to respond to whatever that's stimulating it or her. When my friend was talking about multiple orgasms, she was taken into account multiple places to orgasm. So it includes her clitoral orgasm, which she can have like a couple of times even before penetration. She also included nipple orgasm, which a lot of people can have, both men and women.
Oh, wait, what?
Nipple orgasm, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I have
My
okay.
nipples aren't that sensitive, so I don't think I could achieve that.
neither.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that,
Okay.
if you count, like if you're a quantitative girly, if you count 2 on a clit, 1 on a nipple, then maybe 1 like squirting orgasm from fingering, and then maybe 3 more in the vag, like G-spot orgasm, that's 6. Like you're on a roll.
Damn. I can't even imagine. I'm
Wow.
serious. I can't even imagine that many. So yeah.
Me
Wait, did
neither.
you
Yeah.
just say squirting? What's squirting?
Yeah.
What is that?
Squirting is female ejaculatory orgasm. So that you can squirt when there's a penis in your vagina, but it's easier to squirt when you get fingered. And if your partner is really good at fingering, there is, like a feeling within like the top of the vaginal wall. So when you insert the finger and then you kind of feel it on top of the vaginal wall and you keep stimulating it in like different motion. You can do circular, you can do like up and down, you can do side to side, and kind of continuously you'd have verbal communication with the woman. Like, does this feel good? Does this feel good? There is actually, an area where if you keep stimulating it, and if you can let go, you let go, and you have ejaculatory orgasm or squirting.
Does something actually squirt?
Yeah.
You get
so
actual liquids
yeah,
coming out of
squirting.
your body.
different
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
different.
And okay, it's
God,
not
why
like
am
porn.
I
It's
not
honestly-
achieving this, people?
It's not like porn. It's not like porn, because in porn they have actually a small squirting water bottle under their butt.
Oh, big
course.
cheats.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
that's
funny.
That's very
well,
low
they-
tech special effects.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, well,
Oh, okay.
You guys are actors. Like, there's always some kind of effects. So this is the
Yeah.
porn effects. Like
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
when young people watch it, they like try to achieve that.
Right.
And that's not something you can do.
No.
Got it.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
But
Okay.
you can squirt, but it's just like a little squirt, like a psh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to say I don't think I've ever had that happen, but I maybe I did and I wasn't aware. So okay.
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 Can
So
I talk
You
about
might have. Yes.
maybe a way that you can actually experience it without your partner?
yes, please.
Sure.
Have you
I don't have a
you
partner.
guys
It's gold.
have you guys ever heard of tantric massages or sexological
Yes.
body work?
Yes.
Heard of it, never done it. Yes, let's talk about that for sure.
There are practitioners and in LA, and usually it's in big cities, LA, New York, There are sexological body worker who are trained to help like therapize your body and your sexual functioning and maybe how your body responds to like sexual shame and lots of things. But usually sexological body worker can work alone or work with like a therapist. If you have had sexual dysfunction for a long time, maybe due to like sexual assault when you were young, and you really just want to come a lot and you just can't come, what do? You have to work somatically, like bodily with someone. You can't just talk about it. Like therapy doesn't help you in that sense. So sexological body worker works on your body. Usually like it starts with kind of a pleasure mapping massage. And then it goes into, it can, if you talk about it in advance, it can go into them massaging your vulva, massaging your clit, fingering you, and it could end with a squirting orgasm.
Wait, okay, so is this the same thing as like getting a sex surrogate? What is a sex surrogate exactly?
Yeah. So a sex surrogate works as a supplemental person in a relationship, or maybe if you're single and you just want like a girlfriend treatment. A sex surrogate can have sex with you and you can touch them back. A sexological body worker, you can't touch them back.
Okay.
Yeah, like a sexological body worker works on your body. Like it's not a sexual encounter. You're not kissing them. You're not touching their boobies or penis or whatever. It's not two-way, it's one way. But a sex surrogate is two-way. A sex surrogate works with you and you can have sex. You can have all kinds of things.
So you hire a sex surrogate?
Yeah.
Kelly, you're asking way too many questions.
No, what I'm saying is that legal? Because
it's
for some people that might be considered prostitution.
And what's wrong with prostitution? That's what I've always argued. Yeah.
I argue that as well, but it's also not legal.
Exactly.
Right?
Not here.
So certified sex surrogate is legal.
Okay.
Yeah. Because there is a certification process. And if you're a certified sex surrogate, it is legal because these are the professionals that work with people with sexual dysfunction. And if you're, let's say, I recently worked with a client who's a woman in her 40s who has never had an orgasm. That's a sexual dysfunction. And it's okay. There's no shame in that. Never too late to start. Because from now on, you can have an orgasm every single day and make up for it. So she then started seeing a male surrogate and is like just coming like crazy.
Good for her.
Yeah, good for her.
Yeah, last time we talked, she was like, my legs are still shaking.
Wow, that's so awesome.
Wow.
Good for her.
I love that. I love that.
So here's another thing. We're all 55 and older, right? I'm the youngest of the group. I realized how much more difficult it is to not just have sex, find chemistry even. I'm not having chemistry with anyone. Like I don't find anybody attractive at all. How do we remedy that? Is it because of our hormones dropping, our estrogen dropping, that I find people less attractive and just not wanting to have sex as much or at all?
Yeah. Well, hormones are always a big part of, how we function in a daily life in general, like our energy, how we show up, how we express ourselves. So we can't always take that out of the equation. It's a part of the equation. Another thing to think about too is like, even if you're not sexually attracted to people, are you horny at all by yourself? Like, do you ever feel like I gotta masturbate?
Not recently. I mean, once in like the last maybe few years, like that bad.
Okay.
But that's
few years, really?
But that's also because I had just started estrogen inserts.
Right.
Okay.
So I didn't have any hormones going on. I started the estrogen and all of a sudden I was like, oh, that person is cute. Right. And then, but then it also piqued my melasma, which is really crappy. So now I have to choose melasma or sex.
Okay, that sucks.
Right?
That sucks.
Yeah.
Oh, that sucks. Okay. Huh.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But is it a
Yeah,
head
well,
thing?
estrogen, it is a big part.
Okay, but Dr. Tara, it's a head thing too, because as they say, the biggest sex organ for women is our brain, right?
Yes.
And so
Mhm.
oftentimes, yeah, it's in our head as well, in terms of maybe how we're feeling, what we're thinking, if we're stressed out, all of that. So
I do have a solution for that.
oh, okay.
Um, so there is a fascinating experiment that was conducted by the University of British Columbia in their sexuality lab. And they did sexual mindfulness practices. And these were women who had cervical cancer before and reported feeling nothing up here and down there, feeling nothing sexual. After doing this intervention, a significant number of them reported that they gained their sexual functioning back and they gained their desire back. This is why I'm a huge fan of sexual meditation. I created like a free guided sexual meditation on YouTube just to give to people, like just try it out. And there's a 5-minute one and a 10-minute one. And really, sexual meditation is so freaking powerful, but it's not talked about because no one can profit from it.
I've never even heard of
Oh.
it.
Yes, yeah.
I've
They're
never even
trying
heard
to
of it.
develop a pink Viagra for a long time because wouldn't they love to sell pink Viagra for
Of course.
all the billions of women, right? But people don't talk about sexual meditation and how that is actually a very powerful method in gaining sexual confidence and desire. So yeah, I would highly recommend trying sexual meditation.
Okay. You have to give us that link so
Yeah,
we can
what's
post
the
that.
link?
Yeah.
The link is on YouTube. If you search Luvbites by Dr. Tara, it will come up. I have multiple versions. I have one for couples. If you want to sit down
LUV,
with,
Luvbites.
Yes.
Yeah.
if you want to sit down with your partner and try it together, you can. I also have a solo one. There's a 5-minute one, a 10-minute one. And sexual meditation is similar to regular meditation practice, but it focuses on sexual thoughts, sexual feelings, and sensations in your body. So it really helps you cultivate that feeling. And doing it, consecutively for at least 2 weeks, you will start feeling the difference. And after I read that research, I was like, holy shit, how come no one is talking about this? But
Right?
we know how that goes.
But you said it, no one can profit from it because
that's
what
it.
is there to profit from?
Anyone can meditate like right now. So yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Oh,
But
that's
also it's
interesting.
the idea, again, is that I don't want to veer into political talk, but about giving women license to feel good, to feel pleasure is a no-no. Yeah. It just
Yeah.
feels like the oppression kind of thing. But so YouTube, and what did you say? Luvbites? I just want to make sure that everybody gets
LUV. Bites.
LUV bites.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
by Dr. Tara. Okay.
Yeah, she's got a
fantastic.
bunch of videos.
And back to orgasms.
Yes, let's go back to orgasms.
We talk about like penis in vagina orgasm, right?
Yeah.
Like, the oldest thing that people do, right? Like we're here because our ancestors did that. Most women do not come from penetration alone. Because inside the vagina, there's not as many nerve endings as the clitoris. So we must stimulate the clitoris first and continuously stimulating the clitoris when you have penetrative sex. Now, people in the past did not have tools to help them, right? So they used their hand or maybe they just didn't do it. Now there's so many tools. So, there's still shame in sex toys. There's still shame in sex toys. So like I was telling my mom, like my mom doesn't have a vibrator. I bought my mom a vibrator. She's like, what am I going to do with this? Like use it on my shoulders?
Wait, how old is your mom?
how's
She
your
got her
mom?
first vibrator.
62.
Wow.
A woman in Thailand. Many women in Thailand do not have vibrators.
Wait,
Even my friends.
Even young women?
Hang on, you guys. I can't believe you're like all going, what? I do not have a vibrator.
There you
What?
Nope.
Okay,
No.
we're gonna fix that.
I have a few, but I hate them. You know why? I'm such a princess. I hate the noise. If there was
You
a
hate the
silent,
noise?
if there was a
Put on
silent
music.
vibrator, yeah, because I don't need that noise. I don't need.
Put it under your comforter. Play
No,
music and
no,
put
no.
it under your comforter. Then it'll like block out the noise.
So it's again. I love the idea, but it's like I just wish they wouldn't buzz. It's like that's not the
Yeah.
thing.
I've never had
Yeah.
a vibrator. I've never used a vibrator. And so yeah, I know. I sound like such a prude, don't I?
Try,
We're gonna change that. We're gonna change
Yeah,
that.
yeah. And then there's one that's really good, and I think hopefully Dr. Tara, of course, you would probably know about the little rabbit or something.
rabbit.
It's called the
Yeah.
rabbit.
Isn't
Yeah.
the rabbit is
A
what
lot-
everybody talks about.
Yeah, a lot of people like that sensation where it's like a flutter thing, and like let's say this is your clit and it flutters like this.
Right.
Now there's new technology like ultrasonic clit sucking. Have you ever heard
Boy,
of that?
ultrasonic. Sounds scary. I don't know.
It's gonna rip your clit off.
Well, it's actually very gentle.
Okay.
And I don't know how like super credible this is, but and there's some experts that say that this type of like where it's just like air, like kind of sucking motion is
Yeah.
better than the vibrating on your clit in terms of impact.
So here's-
Yeah.
Here's the
Yeah.
thing. I've realized, like after having a vibrator, right? I get so used to using the vibrator that I can't reach orgasm without it.
And that's
Is that-
there's nothing wrong?
Well, yes, but then it becomes inconvenient if you're just having like random sex with strangers. Like, do you just carry your vibrator in your purse everywhere you go?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my God, that's funny. Huh.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
So just let me clarify. I've never had a vibrator. That doesn't mean I haven't like made myself have an orgasm with,
Obvious,
because
yeah.
I just use my hands, my fingers to rub.
With vibrator, oh, you're frozen right now,
Okay,
May.
yeah.
It's so much easier with a vibrator, but then, like I say, you kind of get used to it.
Yeah.
You
And
do
then
get used
it's
to it.
harder when you're with a partner for them to even help you reach orgasm without the vibrator. So it's kind of like, do you use it, do you not use it, because you don't want to get too, it's like an addiction.
Well, can you come when they like lick your clitoris?
After having used a vibrator for a long time, it's not as easy.
So when they lick your clit, you can't, it's hard to come too.
Yeah, I think it's
Okay.
because
Then
of the
you
vibrator.
then you need to change it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
you
have
do
to,
need
I
change
had
it
to,
up.
I had to, when I was in a relationship, I had to stop using my vibrator. I had to restrict myself from using the vibrator for like a couple weeks at least before,
Well-
I could like get stimulated like that again, because it really is like it numbs you, I feel like.
Well, medically it doesn't. If you talk to any like sexual medicine specialist, vibrators do not cause insensitivity or desensitivity in
No?
the clitoris. It doesn't.
So it's in my head.
Huh.
Physically, it doesn't. It is in your head. It is in your head.
You're getting used to
You-
that.
Your mind,
know.
your brain, because like orgasming is a brain activity. So like you send signals, right? If you do the
Yes.
same exact thing to come every day, then it will train your brain like, oh, this is the best way to come. This is the fastest
Yeah, the
way
faster.
to come.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
So there's that. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
I think it's a time thing. It's a brain thing, like Dr. Tara says, because your brain is used to the seconds that go by. It's like, yeah, I should be feeling this by now. And so it's that routine kind of feeling. I'm
Yes.
sorry, I interrupted Dr. Tara.
That's true.
So
That's
so
true.
here's a little PSA that I would like to announce for all the men who might still be listening. I don't know, maybe some of them are still listening. But
they should.
here's the PSA. Foreplay for women doesn't just start in the bed. You cannot expect to go to sleep, roll over, start playing with her nipples, and for her to get turned on immediately and have sex, right? Foreplay for women starts in the head. So I used to tell my ex, if you want to have sex with me that night, you got to start romancing me before dinner,
Yes.
Mm,
Mm-hmm.
right?
mhm.
Yes.
Because otherwise it's annoying.
It's true.
And
Yes.
also you cannot just roll on top of me when I'm like about to fall asleep, because
Yeah.
then I get mad.
It's also about it's reciprocity is important, right? It's also you romancing him.
Right. That's
Yeah.
true. But
That's
guys
true.
are so easy to like,
No,
all you gotta
that-
do is like
no,
get naked,
no,
and all of a
actually
sudden
a lot of-
they're
No, there are
Yeah.
a lot of guys experiencing low sexual desire and they're very ashamed of it because of that particular stereotype
Oh.
that all
Yeah.
men just want to hump you.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, because I have to be very cognizant of the same idea that if I want to be romanced and somebody wants to have sex with me, it's like I have to indicate that, those kinds of
Yeah.
feelings way beforehand as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
You have
I'm
That's so
I'm
true.
I'm guilty of that too. It's
Me
like,
too.
come on, let's go. It's like,
Oh.
no, yeah,
Yeah.
let's be a little bit more respectful to each other, and that includes me, the guy. It's like, oh yeah, that's right. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a great way to foreplay when you're not together is sexting.
Oh, right.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but you have to be really careful about like who gets your phone after that.
This is true.
Yeah.
Have a privacy screen, right? Yeah.
I mean, I think, well, I guess it depends on also which like community you're a part of, but I guess it's easy for me to say because in my community, like I can show people what I sexed earlier today,
Right.
I can,
Right.
I can show people like, oh, this is what I normally say. Or if my clients are like, well, how do I even start? I'm like, just say this. And, I have a list of like 100 things to do for sexting on my website. When people are like, what do you do? I'm like, here's 100 things.
It always starts with, what are you wearing? Yeah.
Right, you can totally do that. If
Yeah.
you don't want to go too raunchy, you can definitely be like, classy about it. But I'm nasty, so no class here. I just go for it, like I just go for it. I might be like taking a picture of a banana and like text it to my husband and like and I might just say like thinking of your cock. Yeah. I skip.
But you have to
I
have
skip the
somebody-
stairs. I'm taking the elevator.
Right.
Oh my God.
Yesterday.
But you have to have
yesterday-
somebody who's on that same sort of
Who's on that
page
same
when
level.
it comes to
Yeah,
otherwise
yeah.
it could be a turnoff, right? You don't
Right,
want
right.
to
100%.
scare people. Yeah, some
No,
people
no,
get scared with that
100%.
kind of
This is-
talk.
This is like a almost 4 years relationship and we know our rhythm. So
Right.
I say what I want to say, but it's also fun to kind of like live life on the edge a little bit. Like yesterday when I was leaving set, the producers were like, oh, so where are you going to eat tonight? Because I've been eating out a lot. I'm like, no, I'm just going to eat at home. Brendan's going to cook. I'm going to eat steak, eat ass, and watch Survivor. And they just loved it. They died.
Oh my God. That.
Right. I
That's
feel
wonderful.
like that's the one area that everybody could use help in.
Yeah.
Sex
Yeah.
is definitely like there's no limit, right? There's always room for improvement.
Exactly. And it's fun to like talk about new concepts that you've never heard before. Like, sometimes people ask me, okay, like if I've tried everything, I've tried every sex position, what else should I try? And I start talking about some random stuff like, have you tried pegging? They're like, no, what's that? And then they're like, oh shit, I have not tried everything.
Okay.
Okay. What's pegging?
Okay, now what is that?
What is pegging?
Yeah.
Don't leave us
so-
hanging there.
Pegging is when the female partner wears a strap on and then peg the male partner.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Not a lot of guys would be into that. Not a lot of guys
You'd
would
be
be
surprised.
willing.
I think
be
you'd
really-
probably be.
Most guys, you put your finger in that area and they get scared. It's a lot of
Yeah.
guys get like really afraid to be, to have like that zone even played with.
Yeah.
Kelly,
Yeah.
Kelly, I gotta start taking you to my to sex clubs. The
Oh.
guys there are different.
Well, obviously,
Yeah.
yes.
I'm not so sure. I don't think I would be willing to participate in that either, though.
No, in
Yeah.
in pegging or sex clubs.
No, pegging.
Okay.
She's like, sex club, okay, Peggy.
Yeah, maybe sex club. Yeah, I can sit and watch, but participation, no, not so much. But yeah, that's interesting. I've never heard of that. That's fascinating. Wow.
I've never actually been to a sex club,
I haven't
but
either.
I am very curious because I go to Burning Man, right? I am very curious to go to this orgy dome, which you said you've done, right,
Yes.
Tara?
And yes. And I think it's an amazing experience, a little sticky But
Oh, ew.
an amazing experience.
Wait, from the
But
sweat, right? I hope from the sweat.
a little bit of everything.
La la la
Ew,
la.
okay.
Yeah.
But if you want a
Yeah.
little bit more plush sexual experience in a group where you don't have to participate, you can kind of just observe and watch, and you can go with your partner or
Right,
a
right,
date or a fling,
right.
whatever. I think sex clubs are more fun because you can grab a drink and it's just a sexy vibe. Like it's
Mhm.
not always so raunchy.
Tamlin,
No?
have you been to a sex club?
No, I have not.
No. Okay.
No, I
Maybe
have
all
not.
of us should
Yeah.
go
I'm
together.
taking
Maybe.
all of you.
Yeah. Seriously, we should
Okay.
all. Oh my
Yes.
God.
Field trip.
We should totally do. Actually,
Yes.
we should
Great.
totally
I'm
do
so
that.
curious.
Yeah.
I have 2 questions for everyone. So we're going to do a round robin kind of thing.
Okay.
Okay.
First question is, what's the best sex you've ever had? Second question, what's the worst sex you've ever had?
Oh. Oh, okay.
Ooh.
I'll go first.
Yes, okay.
Because mine is very interesting.
Okay.
My best sex and worst sex was with the same person.
Oh,
Okay.
So best sex, it was, somebody that I met while vacationing abroad. I don't want to say exactly what city because I also don't want this person to really feel bad. But then we didn't see each other for like 7, 8 years. And then when we tried to again, we were having health issues and menopause had like played a part, and so it ended up being the worst, most painful sex.
Oh.
wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
And then you never did it again. Like after that, you were like, we're not going to have sex again.
Yeah. And then I was like, yeah, this can't happen
Okay.
again.
Okay. Tam?
Okay. Hold on. May, can you hold on? I think the FedEx guy came in. It was like, oh
go-
my God.
Take a break.
Oh my
No, we
God.
can edit this out. Do you want to go?
Okay. Yeah. Hold on. He's just coming really quickly.
Okay. Okay.
I'll-
Okay. No, it's because she doesn't want to answer the question. Did you notice did you notice Tamlin is like silent at times? And I think it's because her sex life is really probably very hot.
Because
Very-
she's been married for so long and she can
No, but you would
do
think,
all the things.
You
Okay.
would think it wouldn't be, but then I think, yeah. Anyway. Okay.
We're saying that you don't answer questions, or sometimes you're silent, and we think it's because you have the hottest sex
life.
and you just don't want to share.
Oh, I can guess.
You know what?
You might have the kinkiest sex out of all of us.
No. So with my husband, I have had the best sex because it was like he blew my world apart. It was like, oh my God, the things that we do, the things that we've done is like, whoo. But I think I'm going to be bad. Because the best and the worst sex is the same. It's kind of the same thing because when I've been what is the word? I can't even think of the word. Unfaithful.
Oh.
Unfaithful, because it is, again, it's the circular thing. It's like it's the greatest thing. It's like you're seizing the moment. It's like this is the best fucking
Yeah.
Yes.
time that I've had, because, and again, it's the moral issues, it's ethics, it's about trust, it's about faith. It's like, it's all that kind of, it's about love. But with my husband, it was the best and the worst, because again, it's like that idea, like, what am I doing? It feels
All that
good.
guilt.
It feels
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
This feels like the best thing ever. I don't want to ever let it go. I don't want to let that one go because I've put in so much work. It's that idea. And I know that's a big issue, and I don't want to feel like I'm cheating you out, but dude, it's like my love is like, and we're going through a transitional period that May and Kelly and I have talked about. It's like, because entering menopause has been a change, and then trying to find a doctor to do the estrogen pills that Kelly has talked about, and the kind of therapy that we have to talk about, and realizing that our bodies are changing, the frequency is changing. So, but again, best and hottest sex is when it's like, damn it, it's like, feels good to be bad.
Yeah. And listen.
That is the best sex.
There's
Yeah.
truth in that.
Oh yeah, for sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. For me, best sex I think I've had, and this comes to mind. It was with a younger guy, and I didn't want to date him. So the sex was so good, and really he found my G spot. So speaking of vaginal orgasms, see, I'm being much more graphic than you ladies. Crikey. I mean, so the G spot, he found it every time. And I mean, and
Oh.
he would be able to maintain it to the point where I was so dehydrated and like
Oh.
I lost all of my bodily fluids, I felt.
Wow.
You just squirt?
Yeah, I probably did. So I probably did.
You probably did.
But
You
I mean,
probably
I'm
did.
telling you, this was, I don't know what he was doing, or if his penis was like a hook or something, I don't know what it was, but it was
Was he a North Bender?
It was, I don't think so, but it
Oh.
was extraordinary. And then, of course, he wanted to end it because he was getting too attached. I'm like, no, it's okay. I'm like, no attachment, no attachment. And I was like, I was so bummed. I lost that.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, so that
Okay,
was
that
probably
is disappointing.
And I mean, if my fiance is listening to this show, he's going to be very disappointed. So hopefully he won't listen to the show. Anyway, we have great sex. We do have great sex, but that was very unusual. The worst
Yeah.
sex, small penis, like
Oh,
really small. I mean, like
micropenis.
Yes.
There's a thing called micropenis.
I felt
Yeah.
so bad for the guy. I mean, because I was thinking, wow, what must that be like?
So,
Tough.
so I have a story about a girlfriend who did that whole thing where she actually has a sex addiction, right? So she tried to like just befriend the guy and get to know him for months and months. She put in a lot of work. They finally end up going away for the weekend to have their first sexual encounter with one another, and it winds up that he has a micropenis.
Oh
Oh.
man.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
what
I
do
mean,
you-
it sucks
That's
for
a
the
tough
guy.
one.
That's a
Yeah.
tough one.
That is a
But
tough
there's things
one.
you can do, like the strap-ons and stuff like
There's-
you were saying, right?
And there's so many things. You can get really good at eating her out, fingering. Like, I mean, there are many
Right.
ways to come and be intimate. So
Yeah.
it's not like an end all be all kind of thing.
Right.
Right. Okay. All right. So, and Dr. Tara?
Yes.
Yeah. Best and worst.
Okay, I do have to go in 2 minutes.
Okay.
Okay.
Quick
So I'll
stories.
tell my stories short. But the best sex I've ever had is, I think, the second time my husband and I had sex. It was at his art studio. He was already, shirt off, painting, and I was just like so hot for him. I'm like, oh my God, fuck me right now. And and I was actually, so this is what sometimes we'll do, is I was actually playing with myself in front of him as he was painting.
Oh,
So,
nice.
Yeah, I was like rubbing myself and playing with myself. I was starting to get wet, and then I invite him to, the couch, and we just had an amazing sex. And it wasn't just the sex alone, because I can have orgasms every time, but it's like the setting, like the moment. I was like, oh my God, this is the rom-com that I've been watching. And it was just an amazing sex. I came at least 3 times that I can remember. But yeah, it was amazing. The worst sex I've ever had was my Tinder hookup, where
Oh.
I showed up. He didn't even have drinks or anything for me. Like, I showed up and he just kind of like tried to get it on right away. And we proceeded to him, putting me on the bed, started lubing my feet. And then using my looped feet to stroke his cock. Then he came on my body,
Oh my God.
and then he's like, "Thanks, babe."
Oh.
Oh my
That
God.
was it. That was it.
Oh.
Okay, that's pretty
Wow.
bad. That's
Well,
that's
okay.
pretty
That's
bad.
it. I'm like, you're a terrible person.
Oh.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
that was it.
well,
And I mean, at that point, I didn't even want to fuck him. Like, at that point, I
No.
wasn't gonna try to like communicate my
No.
desire, because I had no desire, because he already said like, "Thanks, babe," and yeah, that was
What an
it. So, yeah.
asshole. Oh my.
He didn't even get
wow.
an Uber for me. I got my own Uber.
oh my God.
Wow.
Okay. Well, Dr. Tara just gave us a new meaning to shoes off. Which,
They're right.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's what he said when I got to his place.
oh my God.
Take your shoes off.
Yeah.
Shoes
No. Okay, that's
Well, I guess
hilarious.
he had a foot thing.
We're
Wow,
saving this
interesting.
clip for our highlight show or something. Oh my God, that's
Yeah,
hilarious.
absolutely.
Dr. Tara, I know you have to run. This was so fun. We have to have you on again because there's so much more to talk about,
It
you
was
know?
so
Yes.
fun.
I love it.
was
I love it.
Yeah, this is great. So good luck with your show. We look forward to
Thank
that.
you.
And we will see you again. Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Thank
much for
you,
having
Dr.
me.
Tara.
Bye.
Bye. So I'm giggling because of everything that we talked about in this episode, right? But I have to share with this one story recently. So from that interview, remember when she was talking about pegging?
Yes.
And we were all like, what's that? Right?
Mhm.
Like we had no idea. So
Mhm.
pegging is when a straight couple, the woman puts on a strap on and then, does the guy up the bum, right? So
Mhm.
I shared that with some friends recently at a pool party. I'm like, oh my God, I learned this new term, pegging. And they were like, what? And they didn't know what it was either. And so they're like, oh my God, really? So then this girlfriend texts me the other day. She's like, oh my God, I now know because you told me what pegging is. I understood what they were talking about on the latest season of Sex and the City. That just like that, I guess they talked about pegging. And she's like, had you not told me that, I would have had no idea what they were talking about. So it's a thing.
Oh my
See
God.
that?
It's a thing.
It's a thing. And
Yeah.
this is how we're educating people.
Okay.
There we go.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
doing a
Enlightening.
service, a
Yes.
social service.
Exactly.
We're doing
exactly.
a service. Yeah. Because
Wow.
I would have
Bravo her.
never known that if Dr. Tara hadn't brought it up. But remember how she mentioned it in passing as if we all knew what it was?
Right?
Yeah.
I love that about her. I
Yeah.
love that. She's just like, because she's so open about everything.
I know.
Nothing is embarrassing, nothing is off limits.
Yeah.
And I love that. I love how open she is and easy to ask. Like there's no judgment at all.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. And
No judgment, yeah.
again, I think we touched on this in the interview in that it's like we're breaking down that stereotype as well of Asians
Mhm.
being, kind of timid or not willing to talk about these issues that have to do with sex,
Mhm.
sexual health,
Mhm.
on all of that. So
Right.
it's
Mhm.
great that she's this young, vibrant, very intelligent, very
Mhm.
highly educated Asian woman talking
super
about
hot.
these things. And super hot. Exactly.
Yeah, yeah,
Exactly.
Right.
So
Can you imagine all her male students must be just drooling every time
yeah.
they go to class.
That's
what
what I
did you
was-
say? What did you say? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's what I was thinking. I'm like, man, her students must be like hot for teacher. You know what I'm saying?
Right?
Right?
Yeah. So, but that
They
was
never
really
had
fun.
classes like that when I was college age.
I didn't either.
For
I mean,
sure.
then again, I didn't go to college, so. But I would have
Okay,
if they
that's
had classes like that.
Wait, that's hilarious. Oh my God. Okay. Well, we are definitely, I had the thought that wouldn't it be fun to get her on a semi-regular basis to kind of have like a sex talk,
that would
with
be
the show.
awesome.
So I think
Yeah,
that'd be
that would
really
be great.
that'd be
Yeah.
really fun.
Mhm.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
all right. Well, anyway, I mean, that was a full blown show that I think we were all exhausted after we did that interview, but it's highly.
No pun intended, full blown.
Oh, Tamlin. Oh my God.
I don't
Okay.
talk a lot, but I get it in there.
Yes, that was an appropriate comment to end with.
Yeah.
But anyway, well, great. Thank you so much, Dr. Tara. We'll see you again.
Thank
you as
you.
always, ladies. And everyone, please subscribe to our channel on YouTube. Give us a rating on the podcast platforms and just keep on spreading the word about Shoes Off Inside. Until next time.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.